A TikTok video gets really creepy when some scary moments are caught on tape. A ghost opens the door, or at least that's what this scary TikTok moment was, according to Shimei, 57, who is sitting on the floor of her apartment when someone enters unannounced. I don't hear any footsteps after the door opens, no bags getting put down, so maybe it was a ghost after all, but the scariest moment of all is yet to come. The laughter of a little ghost girl seems like it's coming from up close, and the creepy TikTok video abruptly ends. Either something paranormal has entered her house, or this video was edited to make it appear to be haunted. I think this video could be paranormal, but more evidence is needed to help me make a final decision. I'm going to take you to one of the most haunted places in the world. Some people call it the Arnold Estate, but you probably know it as the Conjuring House. Yeah, that one. This 1700s farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, is where the ill-fated Perron family lasted from January of 1971 until June of 1980. During this time, items would go missing, and small piles of dirt would show up whenever they cleaned the kitchen floor. Soon they were visited by spirits who smelled of rotting and could possess them at will. That's because it was less of a farmhouse and more of a portal to the underworld. A sorceress named Bathsheba Sherman is said to have practiced arcane magic here, possibly even sacrificing her own kin to better forge a connection with the underworld. People have lost their lives all over the property. Kids floating in a creek and swinging in the attic too. Now it's a place for only the bravest of ghost hunters to go. Jennifer and Marcel of J&M Explorations want to put their skills and equipment to the test. On March 18th of 2020, they team up with some friends for safety in numbers and prepare to explore it, the real Conjuring House. They want to see something crazy, so they waste little time heading straight into the basement, the same place where father and husband Roger Perron used to feel a sinking presence behind him whenever he had to come down here to fix the heating equipment, which mysteriously failed many times. The deeper they go, the more they are filled with dread. I don't think it's just them down here, and this is why.
Oh my god, it's just the creepiest.
Something guides them to a piece of old wooden furniture in the far corner that just so happens to have a kid's drawing on it. Andrea thinks this could be a person with a crooked neck in her words, and I see what she means. If it's not that, then maybe it's someone floating in the creek. As she's exploring what it could be, a small face with large black eyes looks at her from behind. At least that's what some people claim to see. Roger always thought he felt something behind him. The old barn is next. This part is of particular interest.
Yeah, this is neat, that old soda.
I'm pretty sure Marcel is right by her, so it's not him. And here's another voice they catch in the bedroom. This one's not in the mood to sing.
Make a noise, but you gotta make it close. Make the noise in here with us. Can you knock on the wall?
Close. Make the noise in here with us. Knock on the wall.
What the?
Its voice drips with hatred, and soon thereafter a foul smell washes over Jennifer, the same one who moments earlier was asking for a sign. Well, I think she's got one and don't think she's faking.
That smell's coming back, and I can taste it. I don't like that at all. I want to get a drink.
Go ahead.
All right.
I'll stay up here.
Yep.
She smells the rotting, in my opinion, a stench coming from the door. Watch her reaction when she tries to leave.
Oh my god.
Just then, their friends enter to talk about their experience while using a Ouija board downstairs. They spelt out a demonic name, and just the mention of it registers on their equipment.
The smell is when something evil, demonic is around you. When we were downstairs playing the Ouija board with the Beelzebub, and then they started smelling the smell up here. You see what I'm saying?
The meter's going off.
And while paranormal equipment is designed to withstand electromagnetic interference, normal cameras are not.
Wait a minute, were those the ones that were on that table right over here?
The screen turned off without him anywhere near it. A final truly bizarre moment happens when they head down to the dining room and see this hanging decoration is spinning. Soon another one is moving, this time side to side instead of in circles. Here's the same room taken towards the beginning of the video. The camera is not steady, but it's steady enough to tell that these objects are not spinning. It could be far from a vent or a draft, but I don't think so. These dried flowers are meant specifically to keep spirits away. Moving the flowers could be a message from the spirits that this isn't enough to stop them, as one of the ghost hunters points out. So you can say what you want about the movies, but the location it's based on is definitely not someplace you'd want to spend the night at. J&M Explorations experienced the same type of early situations that the parents had happen to them during their first few years of living here. Before things started ramping up, I guess the house likes to take its time. Oh, and then there's this doll who goes from waving hello at 13 minutes and 47 seconds to asking for a hug at 34 minutes and 39 seconds. So I guess Annabelle isn't the only one with possession problems. This bizarre video was taken while exploring the woods of Amherst, Massachusetts, in a place that's known for witch sightings and strange ritualistic activity. Someone, perhaps a group, has carefully arranged branches into a makeshift hut. The leaves have mostly fallen off, but it's easy to see how this could have been some kind of shelter during the warmer months. Inside are hanging ornaments of twisted twigs bound together into strange symbols. These stones are all about the same size and have been laid at the base as part of a possible ritual. While further inspecting the hovel, they catch a strange figure running away from the hut into the woods at full speed, but they dare not pursue lest they want a hex placed on their head. This YouTuber didn't notice what he'd captured on camera until he played it back later, and when he saw it, he was scared. Published by Sphinx 2720 in March of 2010, the scary video was taken at Gettysburg. The investigator is standing amongst some boulders at the beginning of the clip. He says the cluster of rocks is called Devil's Den. As he walks around the den, he appears to capture the devil himself. What looks like a large cloaked shadow figure is looming right in front of the den. Another oddity occurs at the beginning of the video and was noted by Akeo Ateo in the comments. As the investigator is getting his bearings with his camera, a dark figure in the distance beyond the nearby rock is spotted lurking past. What is going on here at Gettysburg? Do these figures have anything to do with the area's history? The abandoned boys are exploring a haunted forest where some scary things are said to lurk late at night. They reach a mysterious clearing, and while searching through the tall grass, they somehow miss a figure in blue robes standing right in front of the camera at 12 seconds. 14 seconds later, the same figure has somehow teleported and now stares them down. In this alleged witch sighting caught on camera in the woods, a woman is hunched over and appears to have her robes pulled over her head. She moves slowly, and assuming this is real and not one of their friends, no doubt has a curse or two waiting for them upon her touch. Her very image itself might be cursed, and could explain why the video has lost most of its quality. What do you do when your Uber driver refuses to let you out? That's the nightmare scenario two Uber passengers were faced with when grabbing an Uber in Virginia. The pair captured this horrifying high-speed chase live. According to the passengers, another driver had drove into their Uber driver's car. When the Uber pulled to the side of the road to exchange info, the car didn't follow suit, instead fleeing the scene. The Uber driver then decides to chase the other driver while calling the police. During his hot pursuit, the driver hands the phone to one of his passengers, who tells the police what is happening. The pair wants to get out of the car, demanding that the driver stop and let them out. The driver refuses, saying he can't let the guy go. The passenger relays all this to the police, saying the driver won't slow and they're going to hit someone, to which they warn the man that he needs to stop. The driver does not heed the police's warnings, and in fact he continues chasing the suspect, despite the fact that the passengers notify him that they have the number of the suspect's license plate, so he can logically pursue him that way. 4.5 minutes of fear, and the driver finally pulls over, allowing the couple to leave. They catapult out of the vehicle. That was the scariest moment of my life. It was a nightmare. One of the passengers is quoted as saying, "Thankfully it went no further," and the driver was later charged with abduction. Talk about a bizarre ride. With 2 Barbie dolls in her hands, this little girl is as happy as can be. Her family is recording what should be a loving memory for them to watch over and over again with glee. Instead, if any of them ever watch this video again, it will be in sheer horror. The girl is in the middle of an improvised skit when her father calls something out to her. I think he is telling her to come eat dinner or something like that. Based on what happens next, it looks like the girl wasn't the only one who was listening.
Sara, vem comer! Tá bom!
As soon as the girl says something to the effect of "not right now," the Barbie snaps her head back and gives her a glare. Maybe the doll doesn't appreciate the disrespect towards her father, or maybe it's done being played with for right now. Either way, the girl throws both dolls into the air and runs away. Of course, this could be a fake video, but I'm not sure how you would make the doll's head turn like that. For one thing, the girl's hand isn't anywhere near the doll's head, and for another, you can see by looking at the doll's hair that no string has been tied around its head. Most people in the comments of this video think that it's real. There's a road in Quarten, Switzerland that defies all explanation according to some, and a lot of people have been nervously checking it out. Here's the deal. If you go to this stretch of mountainous highway on Google Maps, it looks pretty normal at first, but don't look up unless you want a scare. This is when the scenery goes from pleasant to mysterious. That's because peeking out from the sky is what appears to be a strange pink-red monument, or else some kind of giant being with its arm held out. You can click up and down any part of this road and still look up to find whatever this strange anomaly is gazing down from above. Some people say this sky sighting is a creature, but I have a much more rational and less exciting explanation. I'm pretty sure this is part of the pole on top of the car that the camera is attached to. Normally, this part of the car is edited out, but I guess some kind of glitch in their algorithm let a piece of it show. As a result, it looks like something suspended high above. That's my theory, at least. Let me know if you agree, or if you think this really was some kind of strange sighting in the sky. It's 7 in the evening when some creepy CCTV video captures a person with their face covered walking up to a New Zealand home and letting themselves in. Exactly 2 minutes later, the intruder is caught on CCTV video exiting the property and walking much more cautiously than before. That's because cradled in her arms is an infant whose small tuft of black hair you can barely see at 40 seconds and again at 1 minute as she goes down the driveway. The person seems to be talking to the baby and taking special care to make sure it doesn't cry and alert the father, who is sleeping inside. As it turns out, this person caught on tape is none other than a babysitter they've hired for the day. She later returns without the child and tells the father that somebody else had gotten into the house and took the child while she was asleep. When he checks the CCTV home security cameras, it's easy to see she is the one responsible. The babysitter was sentenced to 3 years behind bars for these bizarre videos, and I was wondering if you thought that was enough based on the evidence. You can see she has plenty of time to put the child back, but she follows through without hesitation, not even a pause in her step or a look back to indicate a pang of guilt for the parents or the child. This is really messed up behavior, and she could probably use a longer sentence in my opinion. A YouTube duo called Alone and Afraid are ghost hunting in a haunted cemetery in Port Arthur, Texas. While scanning the perimeter, they barely manage to catch a moving shadow that has no reason to stand out, let alone step aside. Look again. At 26 minutes and 58 seconds, a shadow is standing in front of a marker and then it moves away. The camera goes out of focus in the exact same area where they last saw the shadow's movement. Now standing in the middle of the cemetery with only a flashlight on them, the two begin hearing scary noises coming from the darkness.
She was asking for help. I'm hearing stuff all around us. This place is just super eerie.
I would classify this as extremely haunted. So, as promised, we're going to come back.
They hear approaching footsteps in the still night.
We're going to come back.
But when they explore the area with their flashlight, a blurred camera is all they can see, like an invisible presence is standing near. This video was recently taken in Malaysia on a cell phone. Whereas UFO footage is blurry and far away, there's no mistaking what this object is supposed to be in this video. The UFO passes over a house and then takes off in the distance. A short while later, this other footage was taken. The UFO turns sideways and appears to be observing them through a bright white light in the center. It regards them for a moment longer and then the video ends. Overall, it's hard to say if this is a fake video or genuine UFO activity. Most of the comments in the video tend to favor that this really happened. This terrifying footage was filmed in an elevator in Chile. Jose Acevedo gets on the lift and presses the button. Little does he know that this will be the ride that changes his life forever. As soon as the button is pressed, the doors violently snap shut and the elevator lurches upwards. Jose knows that something is majorly wrong and immediately presses the emergency stop button. Instead of stopping, however, the elevator climbs even faster. There's literally nothing for the man to do except repeatedly push the button, while panicking as the elevator races up 31 floors in less than 15 seconds. Finally, he begins to swat at every button, adrenaline taking over as he desperately hopes that just one button will work and bring an end to this terrible ride. He is absolutely helpless and appears to be too scared to even scream. Unfortunately for him, the only thing stopping this elevator is the roof itself. The elevator slams into the top of the building at full speed, and inside, Jose's broken body slams against the crumpled walls. He survives somehow, but now he has severe head and leg injuries. Also, the damage to his spine means he is sadly unlikely to ever walk again. A weird security video from southeastern Nigeria has been freaking people out since October of 2019. Animals seem to disappear in this haunted alleyway, and then it happens to someone who they've long suspected of being a witch. I think these security guards were bored and playing a joke. Notice how the yellow playback bar suddenly skips ahead whenever something disappears. It's pretty obvious that some editing has occurred. So my final analysis is no, this video is not real. What do you think though? A woman is cleaning an English pub after hours one night as a ghost makes a mess of everything behind her. She is mopping the floor when suddenly a sign starts to dance back and forth before returning back to normal. She returns and the sign stops moving, but as soon as she's gone again, this happens.
Fuck off.
No way!
When the cleaning lady returns, she notices that the sign has fallen. She appears to be giving her coworker a hard time. You can't see what they're saying, but you can tell she thinks that he knocked it over and is now telling him to cut it out. He insists that he didn't do anything and steps over for a closer look. As he is peeking around the corner, the mop falls over. He is terrified now and quickly runs away, presumably out of the building and into the night. A YouTuber named Fauzi Ki Danaya of Pakistan has caught some creepy things on tape while exploring a haunted building that used to be a school.
ये मेरे लिए एक फ़ायदा है। ये भाई क्या मुसीबत है अंदर।
It doesn't take very long for the scary stuff to begin.
ये मैं चला खैर इसको क्या आप जिन हो उई अल्लाह 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 उई कैसी आवाज़ है यार उई अल्लाह
His ghost meter detects a presence in this room shortly before the paranormal activity ramps up a lot and a window slams shut on its own.
रात में नहीं हुई इस जगह पे जो भी चीज़ मौजूद है ये कैमरा भी घूमे जा रहा है ब्लर क्यों हो रहा है बार बार क्यों ब्लर हो रहा है ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा मुझे
A final loud crash sends him running out of the building to see what's making all of the noise. All he finds is a stray cat outside, which he suspects is a shape-shifting jinn because no cat would walk towards all that commotion. I'm not so sure about all that, but I do think it's strange how this classroom is the only place where weird haunted things get caught on camera. Exploring the rest of the haunted school reveals no other paranormal activity, just whatever's by this window. A ghost was in our courtroom, writes a government employee in the description of this video. She is investigating a ghost sighting caught on CCTV video and comes to this paranormal conclusion.
We have a ghost in the jail. Those are called ghost orbs. They disappear and reappear.
She noticed some time ago that ghost orbs seem to always gather in this spot at around 5 or 6 in the morning. I was ready to dismiss this alleged ghost sighting as particles of dust, but then at 1 minute of the video, this large white object is caught moving on camera, and it looks roughly the size of someone's head, so maybe this is an apparition after all, although I think it might simply be dust from an AC vent that turns on at the same time every morning. Anyway, if they ever post any more CCTV video of the ghosts in the courtroom, I'll be sure to give a further analysis because this is pretty creepy. An unknown creature's been caught on camera in the sky of all places.
What is this? What the is this thing in the air?
A stunned woman begins to question her life and her sanity upon recording a creature with tentacle-like appendages flapping about in mid-air. She's parked on the far end of a not so busy lot, so that explains the general lack of other witnesses. I'm pretty sure this creature sighting's not real, because this is the only video I could find of it. It would be hard to miss a giant creature wiggling in the skyline like this, so you would think there would be more. My best guess is they've superimposed video of a jellyfish or some other deep sea creature over the sky to create this monster, but I'm not a special effects expert, so who knows? These two scary videos were both captured in cemeteries. Published by Jesus Guadalajardo in June of 2018, a strange figure appears in the top corner of the footage early in the clip.
You got Easter eggs right there.
The figure seems to fly in and out of view very briefly, after which you can hear what sounds like high-pitched laughter.
Where?
Too creepy for me. In the second video, published by Ghost Adventures of Cornwall in May of 2021, Mark captures a bright greenish-yellow orb floating amongst the tombstones.
Whoa, thank you, spirits. Thank you. Thank you for showing yourself. Wow. That's amazing!
Mark is very encouraging of the orb as it appears and then leaves for a moment, only to appear again.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Look at that. He's showing himself. I feel it's a man.
One viewer in the comments says the color yellow is considered positive, so perhaps this is a good spirit. Are these spirits hanging around for their own reasons, or do they reappear to provide the living evidence of the afterlife? An adventurer in India sees something truly chilling.
ये तो वही चुड़ैल है ये कोई औरत खड़ी हुई है नीचे हम छत के ऊपर आए हैं कैमरे उतारने के लिए और ये औरत नीचे खड़ी हुई है देखो इधर से.
He diverts his horrified gaze, and when he looks up, it's gone, but not for long.
ये आप देख सकते हैं. ये कमरे भी आप देख सकते हैं लॉक किए हुए हैं इन्होंने. ये आप सुन सकते हैं.
Red blotches on the curtains mark where an apparition has touched the cloth. I did not see these handprints here moments before. He goes outside and finds a drastic change of weather, further evidence of displeasing a powerful spirit.
ये आप देख सकते हैं. ये आवाज़ें भी आप सुन सकते हैं.
He turns around to go inside for shelter, only to be greeted by the sound of a child's voice through a partially open door.
अभी दोस्तों इधर से जा रहे हैं. इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम हम जब आएंगे किसी बुजुर्ग को साथ में लेकर आएंगे.
He wisely decides to wait out the storm outside and does not go back in. I suppose he figures it would be quicker and less scary to chance it with the lightning, rather than return to whatever poltergeist activity is waiting for him there. A woman uses Snapchat to confront a ghost who has been haunting her house for 8 years.
Are you there? Oh, there you are.
I find it interesting that the ghost disappears when she lets out a startled gasp, almost as if the ghost is anxious too.
Don't be afraid. Come out.
The ghost appears whenever she says hi.
I'm a little frightened at the moment. I didn't expect this to work. Hi.
Then again, this kind of looks like a smile, so maybe it's just the Snapchat app glitching out and not a paranormal sighting after all. If some entity starts throwing things, it's probably best to leave. Published by HD Adam in November of 2021, this scary video explores a ritual house. During his first walkthrough, a strange noise is heard off to the side. Something is in this house with Adam. The fear builds as a door slams shut. Sending the towels shaking on their hooks. Later, while Adam is talking to the camera, the curtains are jerked behind him. The spirits get angrier and throw a bucket when Adam doesn't get the message the first time.
Daha ürkütücü hale getireceğine inanıyorum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
And then start throwing the pots. Even scarier, a telephone rings.
Bakın telefon çalıyor.
And when he finds no one on the other end, something knocks on the door. If someone is there, it doesn't reveal itself, but the disturbances continue, with heavy pails falling, windows bursting open, and doors swinging inexplicably. Later, when Adam does his own ritual, sitting on the floor and burning a candle, a metal object to his right starts to shake aggressively. A minute later, the lights go out and something else shakes loudly off camera. Would you be able to spend an evening in this haunted house? I can't take a minute more. Here's a video that is either 100% fake or 100% terrifying. A family from the Philippines is going for a joyride when they spot a pedestrian ahead of them who is scary enough to make them bust out the cameras and start recording. The obvious answer is that this person could have just pulled their shirt over their head as a prank, but look a little closer and you can see that there is a pair of fully developed shoulders that lead up to the neckline, right where the head should be. You can even see sweat stains where the shoulder blades are. Also, more importantly, how would they be able to walk so smoothly like that with a shirt covering both of their eyes? This person definitely has a strong sense of direction. I can't tell if this video is real or not, but a local myth in the Philippines would suggest it is actually real. Apparently, when you live in the Philippines and you see a person who is missing their head, it is a symbol that means they are going to pass away soon. Therefore, a lot of people think that this video is proof that the legend is real. A small town west of Moscow called Mozhaisk has an eerie, supposedly real ghost sighting caught by a tourist while admiring the architecture of a Capitol building. A Russian paranormal group says that this could be the spirit of a monk who was once forbidden by a prince to leave the town. Perhaps it's real, or maybe after researching this story, the group decided to stage this video and pretend it was submitted to them randomly. There's no way to tell for certain. Is this a ghost or just the cold? Posted to the r/chills narrator subreddit by Louis D Vlogs X. This scary video was filmed in a cemetery during a live stream. The video shows old tombstones scattered throughout the graveyard. As the camera pans around, that's when you see it.
Yeah. Like level out. Because it takes ages for the grass to settle.
A semi-transparent figure appears to walk across the screen from right to left. It's so quick that it's difficult to tell what you're looking at. The camera then lands on one of the living crew, and it doesn't seem as though any of them saw this figure in the moment. Some in the comments think it's the cold breath of the crew member that you see moments later, but it certainly looks more solid than a breath in cold air. What do you think? I think some spirits are quite active at this graveyard. An urban exploration channel called JJ Retro is exploring an abandoned house on the edge of an English village late at night. You can tell he's nervous just standing at the entrance of this creepy estate.
It's time to come exploring somewhere like this because we're in the middle of nowhere, on the outskirts of Slinfold, at this rather creepy house. And there's a sort of haunted feel to it.
Outside, they find a spooky tree with a rope slung over the branch and a plank of wood to step off of. I don't think we need to spend much time explaining what kind of scary events happened here. And when they start exploring the inside, every room fills them with a renewed sense of dread.
Yeah, this is creepy. This is probably the creepiest building we've done so far in our urban exploring career. Ooh.
They try to joke their way out of how scary this urban exploration is, but eventually they have to admit they are getting spooked by something paranormal in the house with them. Weird noises are coming from upstairs, or so they say, but to be honest, I don't hear anything.
Okay, what the f***'s that noise? It's coming from upstairs.
But as they slowly creep up the stairs, I can actually hear the weird sound, and that's when they get it. The creepy encounter caught on camera that they were all looking for.
No, this man. No.
Hello?
And that's when, with all of them on the steps mind you, the urban explorers see a rocking chair moving on its own.
Fuck that, no, come on. And that was the haunted house here in Slinfold, and we're...
Since part of the chair is hidden by the doorway, maybe somebody was off camera making the chair move. Otherwise, this place is definitely haunted. It's past midnight at a police station in Pahang, Malaysia. A quiet crew plays chess to help pass the time, completely unaware of something that stays 2 moves ahead.
Astagfirullah, ya Allah. Selesai. Keluar. Ya Allah. Azan.
The faint outline of a figure leaves them fearfully singing for protection and clambering over each other to stay far away. A different police video taken 10 years later shows more scary things that are just beyond creepy. In the darkness looms a mysterious figure, not wearing a reflective vest like everyone else, that also does not reveal any detail whatsoever, even when directly under the high-powered beam of a police flashlight. Not to mention those crying noises coming from the woods. It could be speakers, but I really doubt the police would be wasting time faking paranormal videos, so either this is a joke being played on them, or else these scary ghost videos are actually real. I want to get the opinions of people from Malaysia, where this video was made, to help me decide if these creepy videos are real, or part of a viral trend, or what. Either way, you know the paranormal activity is bad, when even the police are too afraid to do something about it. Not that there's much they can do. Don't Let Her In, published in November of 2021 by Taja Fact. This CCTV footage is chilling. Two women are at work in a computer lab when one of them leaves. After a moment, the sliding door slams shut, scaring the young woman who is left alone. Alarmed, she turns in her seat towards the door but later returns to her work. Shortly after, the lights start flickering on and off in the hallway, and a creepy figure is standing in the doorway. It looks like a young woman in white, with her dark hair hanging over her face. When the woman is finally alerted to the figure's presence, she slowly gets up to go look, although we're left to wonder what happens next. Maybe we shouldn't find out. Don't watch this video alone at night, warns a YouTube channel called Real Ghost Official. He must not know how brave the average Chills fan is after years of watching scary videos. Anyway, he's exploring some abandoned places in India when a startling discovery is made. Caught on camera is a pale, puzzling, wispy figure. A strange light that disappears into the dark without a trace. If there is a road behind him, then this could be the headlights of an oncoming car playing across the wall. Still, I will admit it is quite bizarre to have a light anomaly suddenly appear in such an extraordinarily spooky location, so a ghost sighting is not out of the question. If only he would have turned around, we would know for sure if this is from a car or not. However, turning around is the last thing you would do if you thought of an apparition in front of you. A YouTuber named Vicky Short offers this creepy home CCTV video as paranormal evidence of a haunted house. It's 4:26 in the morning when a scary event happens that is caught on CCTV, two books falling off the shelf, seemingly with no one around. Vicky says the haunted household objects moved on their own, but the alleged paranormal activity happens in a corner that the camera can't really see very well, so I'm not sure if it's real or fake. This could be a ghost moving the books, or it could be someone moving them off camera. But when the two lights mysteriously flash from a surge of energy across from where the books fell, it makes them suspect that paranormal activity is occurring after all. Don't Look Out the Window, published in November of 2011 by Mr. Jocko van Heerden. A group of friends just hanging out has one more hanger-on than expected in this scary video, filmed in Johannesburg, South Africa. The young people are just chilling in a bedroom when something catches their eye. Turning toward the sliding glass door, an enormous pale creature is standing outside their window watching. The creepy creature's features are vague, and at first it's not hard to tell if what's there is actually a living figure or not, but then it very clearly moves. Someone in the room gasps as the enormous figure lurks out of sight. What is this thing? Is it supernatural or extraterrestrial? And why is it watching them? I don't think I'd feel safe in that house ever again after this. Look over your shoulder. When you're walking down the street at night, that's not paranoia. It's possible you're being followed, as this footage shows. CCTV footage captured just that through Plymouth streets at night in the UK. The 19-year-old Italian woman had just returned to Plymouth from a Christmas break home in Italy when a man allegedly follows her through the streets for several minutes, walking just feet behind her. Police compared it to a scene from the BBC drama Luther, with one officer saying, "This was an extremely disturbing case in a dark, deserted city center." Witnesses confirmed that the woman screamed, which spooked the suspect into fleeing the scene. There was also a Good Samaritan on site who helped her. The fact this took place in such a public place is certainly haunting. A man in Detroit walks up to a house well armed and without a care. The look on his face is a cross between amusement and rage. It's the unmistakable expression of a true psychopath. He taps against the door with a loud clang, but the man inside does not answer. The two have never met before, and this house appears to have been chosen at random. The stranger steps out into the front yard and starts acting even more bizarre. He then gets in his car and drives off for a bit, only to return and damage the house. His motives and identity have not been confirmed, so if you happen to live in Detroit, hopefully this doesn't happen to you. He has gotten into some crazy adventures in the past, but staying at this abandoned factory until 3 a.m. is probably one of the wildest yet. Outside, he finds a collection of what could be someone's belongings out in the forest, but decides to continue anyway. As soon as he puts his camera down to climb inside, he hears this noise. Which I think sounds like a door being slammed as hard as possible. When he finally comes across an entrance, he finds the door has been kicked hard many times, like somebody leaves this way every day, though to be honest, the footprints look to be about his shoe size, so maybe it was him. On the floor are dried red stains and a massive red streak across the wall that I think is paint, or at least I hope so. And that's when he hears it again, the same sound as before.
Reaching into the door and this. It's like, what the f?
Someone's kicking doors open. Do they know he's here? Soon he comes across more red stains, but I think it's almost definitely paint considering the red wall has a similar streak on it as well. He's exploring various old burned out rooms. When it comes back, the same noise as before.
What the f was that? Guys, that was loud as f.
Two bangs coming from opposite sides. He must be surrounded. The fact that Hype Mike is not taking off by now makes me think this almost has to be fake, and this explanation is really unlikely.
What the f that was? Maybe it was like a bird or something.
But just when I started to doubt this video, this really strange sound plays. This doesn't sound like the wind to me, especially how it ends, but tell me what you think it is and if it's paranormal.
What the f?
Hype Mike makes it to nightfall without hearing any further noises. Maybe it's gone for now, whatever it is. He's trying to figure out a place to get some rest and wait out the rest of the challenge, but that's when the noises start again.
Yo! Something just moved in there. Hello?
The room where it came from is completely empty, but the complex is still occupied by something that has been waiting for the right time to strike, and that time is now. Hype Mike runs out of there fast, but makes the mistake of taking one last look. Do you think this is one of his friends or a person who's lost their mind? This footage comes from a hotel camera in New York that's near Niagara Falls. Shane Sovar is a hotel manager who claims to have seen a large triangular UFO shoot past by his window one night. An on-duty hotel security officer backs up this claim and says that he saw it too. They contact an amateur UFO group called the Aerial Phenomenon Investigations Team, who does a standard investigation and leaves. Things get very odd soon after. Around 2 weeks after the aerial phenomenon was finished their investigation, a pair of men dressed dressed in all black suits reportedly entered the hotel and began to interrogate witnesses for more information. They specifically wanted to know where Shane and the hotel security guard could be found. Shane said that people who had spoken with the men later told him how strange they looked. They were tall, pale, had no eyebrows or eyelashes, and basically looked exactly the same. They had especially large and unsettling eyes, and one woman told Shane that she felt like they were able to read her mind. Whether these two men were simply businessmen on vacation or actual government agents is anyone's guess, but Shane swears that he is telling the truth. Exactly what the team of UFO investigators had found during their investigation, along with whatever these men were looking for, has never been released to the public. In some parts of the world, it's customary to never put your shoes on in a hurry. Here's why. A large snake has coiled up in the toe of his shoe and refuses to get out. If he had put it on without looking, then the snake would have no doubt defended itself. He says that this is a non-venomous juvenile rat snake, and I wanted to know if this is an accurate description. I see no bright markings, so I would say he's at least right about the non-venomous part. He gets it out using a hook they keep around just for this purpose and does not seem too worried about it, but as far as I'm concerned, any snake in my shoe should be considered highly dangerous. After watching this creepy video, I might start checking my shoes each time before I put them on. An unexplained creature sighting was caught on camera on Lake Michigan by a person named Carlin Hastings, who discovered a strange and unidentified creature in the freezing icy waters. Let's try to figure out what kind of strange sighting this could be. The bizarre encounter starts out as a single top fin sticking out of the water at 5 seconds. 2 seconds later, more of the creature is revealed. It's hard to appropriately scale its size in the open water, but this creature looks like it might be giant. Obviously, it's a fish of some kind, but the way it swims half out of the water is not normal at all. It's either remote controlled or one of the strangest moving underwater creatures anyone's seen. Some shark experts are analyzing the top fin and saying this is a bull shark that somehow swam upstream into Lake Michigan. Others say this is something different altogether. Whatever it is, be on the lookout and don't go swimming if you are visiting this area. Something strange and mysterious is out there. It's about 3 a.m. when Michael Hernandez gets a phone alert at his front door. He is deep asleep and doesn't wake up until about the 3rd or 4th one. When he finally opens his eyes, these raging porch flames are what he finds. Michael is filled with adrenaline as he grabs an extinguisher and desperately tries to save his home. The tiny device is no match for the inferno, however, and the authorities are screaming at Michael to give it up all the while. He eventually runs away just as the flames are licking his front door. If he had just waited seconds longer, I am sure he would have lost much more than his place of stay. Michael Hernandez set up a GoFundMe page for the incident. He plans on donating a large portion of whatever he gets towards helping his neighbors as well. So I really hope we can rally together as a community and help him get to his goal. An abandoned WWII tunnel is the last place most would want to explore, and for good reason. There are undoubtedly spiritual entities haunting it. This tunnel is no exception. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Seston CZ, the uploader gives a brief summary of what the newscasters are saying in Czech. The ghost was sighted in an abandoned underground factory. The prisoners have to dig their own graves. Police and firefighters train their dogs there as well, and they report weird things happening and their dogs going insane there. The image captured shows a few men in camo walking through the tunnel. To the right, you can see a light transparent figure outlined in the darkness. It certainly appears that this crew had one member too many. One more reason to forgo the exploration of famed tunnel sites. you might find you're in supernatural company. A small bluish figure briefly hovers outside of a home before disappearing out of sight. It's hard to say what this is, or even how close the object even was. On one hand, it looks like it could just be a strand of hair, but the way it hangs around for so long is quite strange. This object was also somehow able to activate the doorbell cam, so it must have had some mass to do it. The person who uploaded this video claims that it's a ghost, but let me know what you think this mysterious object is. Even with video evidence, I still can't fully tell. Old Faithful is the name of a geyser that erupts about 20 times a day at the Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. We can predict when the geyser will erupt with a 90% rate of accuracy. So what was once a mystery of the world has since become just another predictable forecast. With that said, an unexplained moment occurred on a live government broadcast while filming buffalo. At 2 minutes and 55 seconds, you can see a large group of humanoids tracking the buffalo herd from behind a tree. They are very far away and much yet taller than the animals in the foreground. Notice how at 2 minutes and 58 seconds, one of them swings its arms in a wide arc. It's very large and lumbers as it walks. 4 of them go behind the tree and one continues to act as a scout while the rest stay behind. The camera conveniently pans away to focus on Old Faithful moments before the creature can be caught on video any further. The strange group could be members of the film crew, but none of them are carrying any equipment, and they are doing a terrible job staying out of the shot, which they would have been specifically trained not to do. Let me know what you think of these weird moments caught on tape, creatures or otherwise. A group of people in Michigan are having a casual conversation outside when something unexplainable suddenly interrupts them. The cameraman immediately zooms in on the strange intrusion. This is the Paulding light, an intensely burning white-hot shimmer that has no explainable source. As the people in this video are talking about what it could be, 2 more lights suddenly appear. The lights fade in and out as they move rapidly across the skyline. Sometimes it's just the red lights, and sometimes the single white light grows extremely large. The objects are moving extremely fast and even seem to be traveling towards them. Still, the group thinks that they are far enough away to be safe, and plus, they are right by their cars in case things get too crazy, so they keep filming. One person in the group is sure that they are watching the headlights of a car, but no one else buys this explanation because of the erratic way the lights are moving. Now, I'm not saying that it definitely is or isn't a car, but the point is nobody knows for sure what the Paulding light is or how it came to be. With that said, there are some local legends. Some say it's the lantern of a passed away railroad worker who was crushed on the tracks, while others say it's the Grim Reaper himself. I'm curious to read what you think it is after seeing this video. It's 2 at night when this doorbell cam captures something that really shouldn't be possible. Pay attention to the area by the white railing to see it. Some kind of smoky blur appears out of nowhere and paces back and forth twice before disappearing. The uploader insists that this is a ghost, and I agree that it is a strong possibility. Look again and it almost looks like a large head accompanied by 2 hanging arms, or at least that's what I see. Let me know if you can see it as well. This entry involves a series of videos revealing a web of industrial looking tunnels that weave beneath the campus of Northern Arizona University. The uploader states that in October of 2018, he only reached the bottom of the stairs but recently decided to venture further. Enclosed Granddad writes, NAU was almost established as an insane asylum back in the mid-1890s, and rumor has it that these tunnels would have been part of that. He shares a link, which notes that the building was first built as a reform school for Arizona's so-called vicious youth. It's unclear why it remained empty for years upon completion. That's when, as Granddad mentioned, an insane asylum was proposed by the territorial legislature. For some reason, that wasn't followed through either. What isn't made clear is this short historical literature is when the tunnels were built and for what purpose. The recorder guides us through the dark tunnels, writing, I came across pathways that I could have potentially crawled, shimmied through, but chose not to because 1. They seemed a bit dangerously cramped at points, and 2. I didn't want to spend too much time down there. I don't know how much farther these tunnels go until we find out what those tunnels were used for. The mystery may just be enough to haunt you. It's midnight when Sylvia Slarb gets an iPhone notification that someone is at her door. She looks out the window and doesn't see anything, so she goes back to sleep. The next morning, she remembers the incident and quickly checks her phone. This weird shining orb is what her doorbell cam automatically recorded on that night. I have no logical explanation for this aside from a possible insect, but as far as I know, a bug this small and this far away should not be able to trip the sensor. Therefore, I cannot exclude the paranormal as well. Paris might be considered to be the fashion capital of the world, but it also has a much darker claim to fame, a series of underground tunnels extending for miles where over 6 million people have been buried. As if that isn't enough, one day a videotape was recovered from the depths of the catacombs that still has never been explained. The VHS footage was taken by a single brave person as they explored the twisting paths of the catacombs, miles and miles below the city. The lone traveler journeys as far down as he can stand, which was further than most would consider to have been safe. He often stops to curiously handle and examine ancient bones along the way. He's poking around one forgotten pathway that's about 6 miles under the city when he suddenly stops and grows very tense. His breathing becomes heavy as he begins to frantically search for a way out. The beginning of the video shows him acting calm and collected, but now he is sprinting through the catacombs in a panic, only slowing down to briefly decide on which path to take next. The more you watch, the more it feels like he is being chased by something off camera. Finally, he pauses for just 1 second, and then this happens. No one knows what could have caused him to drop his camera and run like that, but it couldn't have been anything good. His identity has never been revealed, and his body has never been found. With this in mind, it is quite possible that on one night he became the newest addition to the catacombs. It's just another ordinary night until a number of strange events happen just outside of someone's front door. A bizarre whooshing noise is followed by blinking lights and the sound of something clicking off camera. I thought it was a turn signal, but the description of this video says that this was actually the sound of lights clicking on and off. Nothing happens for a while, and then the unidentifiable sound briefly returns. Some people have pointed out that this could have been a heavily compressed video of cars passing by. I agree that this is a possibility, but that still doesn't explain the lights turning on and off or the clicking noise. I'd like to hear your best guess as to what this residential disturbance could be. Paranormal, unknown flying device, or just some late night street traffic. A person has their dashboard cam on as they are driving down a long stretch of country road. They round a corner and almost hit a man who is dressed in all black. He is holding a simple briefcase while standing in the road. He turns around and runs away, and that's when you can see he is clearly not alone. There's a second man in black who turns around and runs with him. Notice how they run at the exact same speed and synchronize their steps. The camera soon reveals a large group of men who all appear to be dressed as government agents. They all look like they are around the same height and weight, and they are otherwise almost identical in every way. In the distance, you can see a red flare burning bright. It looks as if they are at some sort of drop-off point. The video cuts out abruptly before we can learn anything else. One thing is clear, this group was obviously doing something secretive and didn't want to be discovered. Of course, this could also be some sort of prank too, but that seems like a lot of effort. You might want to rethink booking that Airbnb after seeing this scary video. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Lemonisa. The Redditor writes that spooky sounds during the first night in this rental home in Norway kept waking her and her partner. This prompted her to start recording. This is what she captured. In an upper slanted window facing the living room, a mysterious white anomaly appears. After a moment, the anomaly slowly fades away before completely vanishing. It's not clear if the figure is beyond the window looking in, or something inside the house is being reflected. Some in the comments think it looks extraterrestrial. Others say it looks like a face or hand pressed against the glass. The Redditor mentions in the comments that this house was haunted. She says that they'd be sitting in the living room and would hear random things fall from the counter and strange noises from the basement. She notes that this first night in the home was especially creepy. Would you have the courage to remain a second night in the house if you saw this in the window? I sure wouldn't. This video of the Ishima Hoyashi Bridge in Japan looks like one of the scariest places in the world to drive over and has the internet freaking out. It resembles a terrifying roller coaster more than a bridge, but I found a video of someone going over it, and while the ride is creepy, it's probably not as bad as you thought. I just wanted to show what going over this bridge is really like, since the video went viral not too long ago. The reason why the bridge is built like this is to give extra room for boats to go under. It makes sense, but doesn't really make it any less scary, especially if you already have a fear of bridges to begin with. Thank you so much for getting me to 5,000 subscribers on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you.